Hello, my friends. Next up, we have our Socialista Weekly. So, what nefarious thing we'll be discussing today? Zohran Grocery Stores. Socialist utopia or Marxist hellscape? Well, let's start off by hearing how the right thinks about this.
And like so many foreigners who've come to this country recently, Mamdani doesn't want to, rather wants to implement the same failed policies to destroy the countries that they fled from. There are too many examples to list, but
So he won't.
One of them.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic pricing, jacking up the cost over the course of a day, depending on what they get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zohran Mamdani, and as mayor, I'll create a network of owned grocery stores. It's a public option for produce. We funds from corporate supermarkets to city-owned grocery stores. The mission is lower prices, not price cap.
City funds, meaning funds that are already, the city is already going to be giving to billionaire corporations.
These stores will operate without a profit motive.
That's why they want state grocery stores. An idea that has never worked or been tried. For produce. In other words, let's turn your the fact that there isn't a single person alive in the entire country
Totally equivalent.
who's ever been to the DMV. Well, these people are great. They should be put in charge of the food supply. That's what I'm going with.
That's totally what he's going with. Not a straw man at all.
Another word for pricing. And like so many foreigners who've come to this country recently, Mamdani doesn't want to, rather wants to implement the same failed policies that destroy that they fled from. There are too many examples to list, but here's one of them.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost
Yeah. So, he's a fucking idiot. Like, have you never heard of fucking commissary? Like, here, let's take a look. All right. Guess what? Government is already in the grocery business. Yeah. So, well, there's the DMV style bureaucracy taking over private sector function. It's this totally equivalent thing. Yeah, there's already a prominent American example of government grocery stores we ignore at our peril. The largest and longest running network of such stores in the U.S. is the military commissary system, dating back to the 1800s. Commissaries are supermarkets operated by the U.S. Department of Defense to provide affordable groceries to the service members and their families. The Defense Commissary Agency runs about 235 stores worldwide and 177 on bases in North America, with annual revenues of $4 billion, which is then invested back in. So, yeah, so there's that. And let's see, there is also some other ones. There's some, I think there's some grocery stores in North Dakota, but there's a couple in Kansas, So, let's see. Oh, wait, no, it's down where I wanted to be. Yeah, the St. Paul Supermarket, a grocery store owned and operated by the city of St. Paul in Kansas, is a successful example of a city-owned shop. After the retirement of Joe and Sue Renfro, the city government decided to purchase it. The grocery store is now in its 12th year of operation as a city-owned enterprise. The secret, according to the city, is broad community support and an effective leadership team, plus a commitment from the city to continue to provide financial support. So, yeah, so it already works. And in full disclosure, I also have to say that they had another one in Kansas that did not work, unfortunately. Same type of situation. But the reason it did not work was because a fucking Dollar General got put up, like, right next door. And it put them out of business. So with their shitty, low-quality food, and, they're just poisoning rural America while they shit on their workers. So yeah, why do shit companies like that get to put good companies out of business? And that's because they have magnitudes of scale. They're able to buy a shit ton of shitty food and sell it to your grandma, and that's all that she can go get now, because the place that was selling good produce and good food, you can't do that anymore because they don't have the bargaining power. So Freaking use the government's ability to bargain. It can purchase en masse resources, and they have the logistics already to get all that food to whatever public grocery store there is. So we should just run them like a franchise. Franchise is pretty much just a freaking glorified property management company. So the government would already own the land, it'd own the building, it pretty much purchase the food from actual, farmers in bulk to then send to these grocery stores. I think that makes pretty decent sense to me, using the America's collective ability to bargain for Americans. Crazy idea. Yeah, and they should go in food deserts or places where, the only food grandma can buy is from some rapacious dog food salesman. That's you, Dollar General. The store would have no property tax because obviously it's owned by the government, and it'd be a source of good jobs, all locally ran, just like a McDonald's would be. And I think maybe the whole no tax, the property tax thing should be afforded to companies like Winco or Bimart, credit unions. I might incentivize, people to make those businesses more. If you're not aware, Winco and Bimart are both employee-owned companies, so which I think is awesome. I don't think the government should own everything. I want people to be able to have power, where they're working. It's not a ridiculous thing. That's what a union is. And that's what gave us the ability to, it's what gave the rich people the ability to steal $80 trillion from us, essentially. So I think a government should certainly be able to level the playing field for the bottom 90%.